Hello and welcome, One Piece fans! Today, we're diving deep into the world of One Piece to uncover the top 10 strongest characters as voted by Japanese fans. This list, from a survey conducted by Gohan, promises some surprises and controversial picks. Let's explore these rankings together and see if you agree. I will also give my opinion on each pointed out character, because there are some positions there that are at least strange. But one might say, do you think you know more about One Piece than the Japanese themselves and will want to refute them? Yes. So, take advantage and tell me in the comments if you agree more with my observations or with the Japanese. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join this thrilling voyage. 10th position, Roronoa Zoro. I know that even the most passionate fan of the swordsman can realize that it is very suspicious for him to be in this position. Zoro will certainly become the best swordsman in the world, and by the end of the work, he will probably even surpass Mihawk quite easily and will be in the top 10 strongest in the work safely. But currently, it is very difficult to place Zoro within this top 10. What leads us to believe that as it was an open vote to the public, the fanboys won and placed him even in 10th place. Because let's be fair here, it is easy to name 10 characters currently that are indisputably stronger than Zoro without even having to think too much. Roger, Garp, Whitebeard, Shanks, Kaido, Big Mom, Luffy, Akainu, and Rocks D. Zebek. Zoro will surpass some of them in the future. That's for sure. Everyone is sure of that. But now, as 10th is a bit complicated. So, this list already starts quite questionable. But it does not change the fact that in the view of the Japanese, Roronoa Zoro is the 10th strongest character in One Piece. 9th position, Monkey D. Dragon. As the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Luffy's father will certainly be a character with a very high level of strength. But as we have never effectively seen him in action, this placement is due much more to the margin of strength that the character presents in logic. He would be stronger than his own son for a matter of hierarchy. And of course, we are talking about the son of Monkey D. Garp, the hero of the Navy, and the father of Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will become the king of the pirates. It is evident that when Dragon shows his true strength, it will be simply insane. So, it seems fair to me in this 9th position, although we need to know that it is much more for a speculative matter than really concrete. We will only have a true notion of his strength when Dragon finally enters a battle, so the guy can both stay below the top 10, which I find very difficult, as he can also be very well placed in the highest spot within even the top 5 or who knows top 3 of One Piece, and by this margin, we see that the level of strength of Dragon will be simply immense. This participation seems to me, and seems to be okay. I think that in the end, it will end up being a little above, but 9th is okay. 8th position, Kaido. The strongest creature in the world has proven all its enormous power during the Onigashima War, and for us readers, it has shown to be one of the most imposing and strong characters in One Piece. A true monster. As we will see, the people who are above him in this ranking are extremely powerful. But of course, it is quite debatable whether his level of power is not equivalent or even surpasses the others. After all, the strongest creature in the world is not a title given to just anyone. But there is an interesting question here that I even laughed at when I realized Kaido is in 8th place, and after being defeated by Luffy, he has simply 8 defeats in his record. So, the 8th position seems coincidentally a good placement, especially because the names that come in the sequence are all insane, although I think I would place Kaido a little higher. 7th position, Monkey D. Luffy. Above his father, above Kaido. Is that right? The future king of the pirates is already one of the strongest characters in One Piece, and promises to surpass even the legendary Gold Roger. After the awakening of his fruit, it became very difficult to even measure his level of power, because everything we can imagine simply seems possible. So, to be here as the 7th placed seems really fair, although there is a very intense debate between Luffy's strength and Kaido's strength, with many people claiming that if these two faced each other 100%, zero damage, the strongest creature in the world would come out as the winner even against Luffy in Gears. On the other hand, we have people who believe that even if the two were to fight without any damage, 100% Gear Luffy would end up being crowned the winner. So, the two are holding there at very similar levels, and this seems to be quite consistent. 6th position, Monkey D. Garp. My Japanese companions, the hero of the Navy, the man who along with Gol D. Roger defeated the most infamous pirate of all times, Rocks D. Zebek, and who is possibly the greatest marine in the history of this universe. This guy, this man, this legend, is in the damn 6th position. unacceptable. This, for me, is crazy. The man who rivaled the king of the pirates does not stand out among the top 5? That's too crazy. If we compare, it's even as if these people who voted in this ranking simply did not have their eyes on the Navy, because as I mentioned, Garp is the strongest marine of all in his prime. And in this, the Japanese agree with me because, spoiler, there is absolutely no other member of the Navy or the world government in this ranking. We don't have Fujitora, we don't have Kuzan, we don't have Sakazuki, we don't have Borsalino, and not even Sengoku. I think a little affection for the Navy was lacking. Not that they deserve it, but it is the own Roger who mentioned that if they were going to capture him, they should call Sengoku or Garp, indicating that the level of strength of these two, my dear, was very high. But the guys don't care about that, and that's it. Sakazuki who showed himself to be a demon and nothing. I strongly disagree with this placement, and I want to know your opinion, so leave it in the comments. And from now on, we are going to talk about 5 pirates. So before I continue with the ranking, I suggest you pause the video. Think about who you believe will be in these places, write it down, and then see if you got it right. Did you pause? Think. Didn't pause? Didn't think. It's better you pause and think, because I doubt you get it right. Anyway, let's continue. 5th position, Dracul Mihawk. That the best swordsman in the world is an absurdity, nobody doubts. The man is capable of rivalizing with the red-haired himself, besides, alone, having a reward of 3,590,000,000 berries, a value above the first reward of Blackbeard as a Yonko, and even capable of surpassing 2 emperors, Luffy and Buggy. That is, the guy is just chilling with a bunch of monkeys, that he is a monster. And he still has not shown even close to his true strength. So he is another character that gives a lot of margin for us to speculate about his level of power. There are people who will say that he is at the level of a first commander, which I personally find hard to believe, and there are people who will say that he is certainly at the level of a Yonko, which I find much fairer. What also proves how Zoro will be insane. But would he really be stronger than Kaido? Would his rivalry with Shanks not be measured only through their swordsmanship skills and not in total strength? It could be that yes, but it could also be that no. The truth is that Mihawk is an extremely strong character that I imagine could face Kaido, but a victory there is craved and guaranteed. That seems difficult to me, but I'm not saying that Kaido is necessarily stronger than him, but that a confrontation there, man, that is difficult to imagine who would come out as the winner, would certainly occur. Even in one of his speeches at Marineford, he makes it clear that he is below Whitebeard at that time when it comes to level of strength, saying he wants to see the distance between him and that Legend now again. And as Whitebeard rivaled Roger, and Roger rivaled Garp, it is easy to see that Garp's level of strength was very close to Whitebeard's, if not equivalent. So, by this association, and as much as I love Mihawk and think he will surprise everyone when he shows his true strength, I think it makes absolutely no sense for him to be placed above Garp. And what supports this are Mihawk's own words. So, it is very strange for him to be ahead of Garp. 4th position, Silvers Rayleigh. I love the character very much, I am a big fan of the guy, but man, I do not agree. The Dark King, as if he were the one who reigns in the shadows of the king of the pirates, his complement, someone extremely powerful, and the right-hand man, ideal for Roger, is a character of an extremely high level, nobody doubts. And in his prime, I think he would hold there what many call a Yonko level. But for the same reason that I do not agree that Mihawk is in front of Garp, I cannot agree that Rayleigh is in front of the hero of the Navy. Come on, there is a very clear hierarchy in the One Piece universe and present in all crews. The captain is stronger than the right-hand man, stronger than his immediate, who is always there just a little below. And if Garp in the Navy was the great rival of Roger, I at least find it very difficult to believe that Rayleigh was superior to this marine. And for heaven's sake, I do not want to belittle the Dark King at all. The guy is insane, but it does not seem coherent to me that he is positioned in this placement. It is possible, yes, to put him in the top 10, of course, but in the top 4 is much more complicated. And here I take the opportunity to ask a question. Do you think that Rayleigh at his peak would be able to defeat Kaido? I do not have a very formed opinion about this, and if I start thinking about this battle, I end up in a little mental confusion there. So tell me your opinion. Would the Dark King at his peak win, or be defeated by the strongest creature in the world? Please comment below. So, I have the opportunity to see sense in him being here in the 4th position. 3rd position, Edward Newgate. Here I will not dwell much because the reasoning is clear. I only agree to put the famed strongest man in the world in third place if the two in front of him were some of these three: Roger, Garp, or Zebek. Although I still think there is a lot of discussion that can be made on top of the level of strength of these guys. But Garp has already been mentioned, and spoiler, in front of Whitebeard will be another name other than Roxy Zebek or Gol D Roger. I think that Whitebeard is top 1 or 2 in One Piece, but I will agree here with this placement. Although for me, Roger, Garp and Edward are the top 3, with a margin there for Zebek to be a little weaker or even a little stronger than the 3. And to see how insane Whitebeard is and absurd, here is a very important piece of information that many people never knew or sometimes forget. The title of strongest man in the world given to Whitebeard, which Sengoku mentions at the time that Garp is next to him, was given to Newgate before the beginning of the Great Era of Pirates, as confirmed in the character's Vivre card, Volume 4. So, for it to be very clear to everyone, Whitebeard received the nickname of strongest man in the world, while Gol D Roger, the king of the pirates, was still alive. And of course, this information weighs a lot in favor of the old man. Second position, Gold Roger. What a madness, what a madness, and what a madness, man. I thought that all public votes for the strongest character in One Piece would always end with Gold Roger in first place because, man, for several reasons. He rivaled Garp, rivaled Whitebeard, king of the pirates, one of those responsible for the fall of Zebek, the man who conquered all seas, and without a doubt, the greatest figure so far that personifies the word adventure. Gold Roger is a legend in all aspects, and not in vain is the first character to appear in One Piece, because through his strong words that this journey begins. But for some reason that I will not be able to explain, for the Japanese, he is in second place and not in first, and in front of him is not Garp, not Whitebeard, and much less Zebek, who bizarrely does not figure in this top 10. So, I think that Roger could only figure in first or second place in this ranking of strength, but the character who is ahead of him, leaving the king of the pirates as runner-up, is what we will find out now. First position. The strongest character in One Piece, according to the Japanese, is Shanks. And after disagreeing so much with this ranking here, I want to say something very important. Maybe by placing the red-haired in first place, the Japanese are right. If Gold Roger was the one who ignited the flames of a new era, Shanks was the one who set fire to the dream of the boy who leads this story. The red-haired, one of the central figures of the first chapter of One Piece, is an essential character for this narrative that remains guarded to this day, more than 25 years since the beginning of its publication. His potential, we all know, is immeasurable. And for him to hold back his true demonstration of strength until today, it is because Shanks, who promises to show a level completely different from everything previously seen, can still surprise. Although, he can surprise because although the expectations for him, man, are very high, the red-haired was confident enough to face the strongest man in the world, besides soloing an admiral with a conqueror's haki from kilometers away, apprentice of Gol D Roger, student of Silver's Rayleigh, pupil of Kozuki Oden, current Yonko, and in the words of Eiichiro Oda himself, the man closest to becoming the king of the pirates. Having said all this, it is impossible not to hype the strength of Shanks, and to think that yes, the greatness of his power resembles that of the greatest names in this universe. After all, he himself figures in this tier of great legends of the seas. So, although my natural impulse is to disagree and to claim that Whitebeard in his prime, as well as Roger and Garp, were probably superior to the red-haired, something in the depths of my heart tells me that when it comes to level of strength, Shanks the red-haired will show himself to be someone unparalleled and unprecedented. I'm not saying that he will be stronger than the other three mentioned, but that his demonstration of strength, like we had a small glimpse of a year ago, will be the most surprising of all One Piece. So, yes, I think that Shanks will prove to be the strongest living pirate of all, and something also leads me to believe that Oda decided to take away one of his arms to nerf a little this true monster, that if he had both members, would perhaps be the most powerful man who ever lived in this universe, surpassing all his rivals and even his great master. During the video, I talk so much about Garp, Roger and Whitebeard, but when it comes to Shanks, oh man, there is a feeling there. Something much more emotional than rational that leads me to believe that yes, it is no exaggeration at all for him to figure in the first place of this ranking, even taking into account everything I mentioned this throughout this video. Shanks the Red-Haired can indeed be the strongest character in the work. And that's it. In general, I disagree quite a bit with the list, but I liked it. I think it can raise a very nice debate. But like that, not having Big Mom, not having Blackbeard, not having Zebek is kind of crazy. I imagine that when we get to the flashback, we will give the true value and respect that this infamous man deserves. And man, as a big fan of Shanks, I find it difficult, although I see this margin, but I find it difficult for him to be above Whitebeard in his prime, and also Roger in his prime. In the end, it's not just because they are Japanese, that they will make a tier list and a ranking of strength better than other fans. So, also, take advantage of the comments to leave your top 10 of the strongest characters. Thank you very much for accompanying me here. Leave that like which helps a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed. And we will undoubtedly see each other in the next one.